basics of how to skin a coyote. And I'm probably going to do this way simpler than most anybody does, because I'm going to use the winch with clamps. Now, a winch is a really nice system to have because your coyote's always at the right level. Instead of you either being bent down to do the face or way up to do the legs. So with the winch, you're always at the right height. Now, the clamp system, well, that's just something totally different that probably most people have never seen, but it's really unique. But it makes it a little bit quicker, so I can walk you through it a little bit quicker. First thing you do is you need to brush your coyote out before you skin it, because when you go to flush it after it's skinned, any burrs or anything like that that's underneath that hide, the flusher will usually cut it. Same with the nipples on a female coyote. It's very hard to flush that fat off the coyote around the nipples. So you want to brush it out, which I've already done. I did it yesterday too, but he said I didn't, and he found a whole bunch of burrs. So today we're going to skin a coyote. The way you would actually do up a coyote to send it off to one of the fur auctions. There's 2 fur auctions in Canada. We send them to either Fur Harvesters or to NAFA. And both of them are in Ontario, and they sell off all your furs to Greece, China, Japan, Russia. All those companies, all those people come over to these 2 fur auctions every year and buy up your furs. And how you do that is we call it a tube skin. Now, other than a tube skin, the other way to skin a coyote is if you're going to mount it or rug it. At that point, when we get to that point, I'll show you where to make the cut. Because at that, you cut it all the way up right to the bottom lip and cut the bottom lip if you're going to do a rug mount. But we're going to skin it out for the fur auction. So I use generally just 2 or 3 knives, and that is it. I like my Havilon, or not my Havilon, my Havilon's actually too sharp for this. I like my Victorinox knives. They're only $7 and they actually keep a good edge on them. I got my black one, which is just a straight edge, and I use that for skinning. This here one, I never cleaned it up yesterday. It's a serrated edge knife, and it's a special knife, and it works on the bones for your tails and your faces. If you use any serrated knife that you can go uptown and buy, it's not going to work. I've tried it. And with this serrated knife, when you go to sharpen it, I sharpen it about once every 3 coyotes. And what it does is when you skin your coyote with this serrated knife, that face just comes right off. It just peels off just so beautifully. But all you need is a cheap sharpener for it, and you just give it 2 or 3 strokes, and she's ready to go for another 3 coyotes. Simple as that, and it's the most wonderful knife. So if you're going to skin a coyote, you want to invest in one of those. Okay, we'll get this process started here, because it's almost the end of the day. When we do up a coyote, you need to slit between the tendon and the leg. And if it's straight up like this, you can't feel that gap. But if you bend the leg like this, you can actually see it and feel the gap between the leg and the tendon. We're going to cut in that dead airspace there, right up to the back leg, up to the knee joint. Going to bend it, you can feel it, down you go, up you go. Now we're going to hang it. During this process, I'm going to teach you 2 different ways to skin a tail out and 2 different ways to remove the cartilage out of your ears. A lot of people don't remove the cartilage out of their ears, and what happens is the cartilage is very, very hard to dry it. And if you don't get it dry enough, you're going to get slippage, and slippage means loss of hair, and it gets really stinky. It may not slip at your place, but I tell you what, a month or 2 when it gets to the sale, it might be slipped. So it's best to get that cartilage out of there. So there is 2 different ways to do it. There's 2 different ways to do the tail, so I'll do both processes. Well, I'll tell you about the one on the tail and show you the other way. See how we only have 1 tail, but we have 2 ears. I'm just going to lift them up here and let you guys look at the ears here before we skin them out. When we're skinning a coyote, it's got hair on the inside, but that's got the cartilage attached to it. That we don't need. We're going to take and throw that out. What we want is this hide on the back. Now, if you're going to actually mount it or something, then that's totally different. You're going to need that hair on the inside. But for what we're doing, that just goes in the garbage. So you're gonna start back here, and you're gonna feel for your tendon here. And you're just gonna keep squeezing the skin like this until you got all the hair on the side, and you can kind of see daylight through there, and you're just gonna zip it up like that and give it a pull. Just keep squeezing it like this until you got all the hair. You can see it. You don't want to touch, you do not want to cut this cartilage. You cut this cartilage, then you got to hang it up by twine or something. It's a pain in the butt. So you want to make sure not to cut that cartilage or that tendon. So when you go to ring it here, you want to put your knife in, start at the back, bring it around to the front. You won't cut your fingers and you won't cut that tendon back there. Everything I do when I go around the tail, front arm, everything, I go from front to back. Now we did that. Now we need to make a Y here. A Y cut, right? You can see the difference in color between the white and the brown. We're going to follow that line. But we need to get a starter point. So the starter point we're going to cut at the very base of the bum here. And we're just going to make a couple of slices in the upward motion. There we go. We're under the bum. Now we've got it open. Now we can just zip up and you're going to come out. If you follow that line, you're going to come out between the tendon and the leg bone. You're going to come out on this side of the tendon. And if you don't get it perfect, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Now these coyotes, I've kept them frozen for the last few months in the freezer, so they're a little bit dried out. So they're not going to be quite as easy to skin as, say, one that you caught last week or today. Did that get cut all the way through? Gibbers. And up we go, follow that line, come out on the right hand side. Just giving it a double check here, because sometimes you don't get her. No, I didn't get her all the way. Because there's that hip bone there that you hit, and sometimes if you hit that hip bone, you don't get the hide. Now we're going to start in the front here. And we got a little male here, so we got to get that pee-pee out of there. But what we're going to do is now we're just going to trim the front down, and it's really just sinew there. It's not fat or anything. We're just going to trim the sinew away. And so this isn't hard at all. This is where we do most of our skinning, is on this back end and then on the face. The rest of it, the winch does it all. Now we're just going to skin down the leg a little bit, give it a pull, skin down a little bit, and give it a pull. Now normally when you get to this point, you can just start pulling the hide down till you hit the tail. But because this guy has been in the freezer for so long, he's a little bit dried out, I'm going to just trim the fur away from the meat just a little bit, just to give it a couple of little, just to make it easier so that I don't end up pulling meat, because yesterday when I did it, the meat wanted to start coming with me, and we don't want that. Alright. This one I need to start down here. And when they're all fuzzy, sometimes if you get really fuzzy ones, I'll spray it down with a little water bottle so you can see what you're doing, because this fuzz gets in the way and it's really hard to see what you're doing. Once we get past this. Oh well. Okay, so now when you go to pull your legs down, roll your hide like this to pull so you don't tear it. Give it a pull, move your hands down towards the bum, roll your hide, pull. And then you got more pulling strength there. See, now we've got it pulled down to so that it's pretty much even or a little bit lower than the tail, and that's kind of where you want it. Now we're going to deal with the front area here. This is all sinew in the front. So what we're gonna do, but it doesn't go all the way through because we have all the privates in there. So we've gotta get to them. So we're just punch it through like this. That's all you gotta do is hollow it out. And you get in there and you can feel, oh, there goes my hair tie. And you just grab the skin and you just go through under behind and cut. There we go. Now this is a male, so I'm going to skin the front of it down. If it's a female, you just skin it, you just do this and you just pull it down. You're done. But seeing how it's a male, we've got to get this other bone out of here. So we get it so that it's like this, give it a pull. You might have to skin it from the back side just a little bit. And there it is. Cut it off, you have no hole there. If you do it right, you won't have a hole. If you don't do it right, you'll end up with a hole in there.
Why are all the women laughing?
Okay, now, there's two ways to do a tail. Well, first off, let's just skin it out first, or skin it back. When we're skinning the tail, you need to skin underneath it. So we do a little L, and we just keep going like this until we can kind of meet it on the other side. Until you can see just a little bit of light skin there, and you can, so now I can cut backwards so I can get my finger in there. Once my finger's in there, this hides in the way. Once my finger's in there, you just trim around from the back forward, and you just feel the skin just roll off. And you want it to, and you want to do this as low as you keep doing this as far as you can till you got skin like this showing. You want this skin, flap of skin there, and I'll show you later why you want it when we actually pull the tail. So now let's say this is how most men would pull a tail because they're strong enough to do it. I am not, so I do it the simple way. But if for most men, this is how they do it. Is they'll take, I don't know where to put my bar. Here it is. This is just a trap center bar for your conibears. So what Daryl will do is he'll go and he'll put this in like this, right at the end like that. He'll go like this, push with his knee, and he'll pull from here and he'll pull the tail out with his arm. So you just push down with your knee and you pull out up with your arm. Now, if the tail's dried in there, then you're going to do it the way I do it. I'm going to cut it very far back. I'm going to cut it at an angle again so I miss that joint. And if you don't miss it, you'll catch on to it. Then I'm going to take, these are just little Princess Auto cable cutters. Gerald got them for me. And I just go and I cut that bone now. All my knives, any knives you need, tail strippers, all of that. Dan Beaver, just 2 doors down from the Mini Donuts, he's brought everything, and he's got everything that you would need for skinning a coyote. These Victorinox knives, and the tail stretchers or pullers and everything. So if you are interested in getting the serrated edge knife, he's got them, because they're not easy to find. So now that I've cut it, it's still hooked there, but I use my serrated edge knife to cut that. So now we're just going to give him another little tug. Now this is, if you were skinning it now, you would need to skin it down to its underneath of its arm. Whereas I'm going to winch it to that point, and then the arms are going to go straight out and come down. So we need to be able to get that separated from between the arm and the neck, which would be from here to here. And so we're going to zoom down here, and we're going to clamp them up. These clamp systems, Daryl spent many years working on them. We wrecked many a coyotes and tore a lot of coyotes, but he finally figured out a system that'll work and doesn't tear my coyotes. So we just make sure your clamps are even if you are going to do a system like this, or if you wanted Daryl to make you a set. Okay, so we're going to go until we hit the front knees. I'm just going to help the fur get over the front legs. Whoa, this we don't want to do. This guy's still a little dry, so I'm going to have to give him a little bit of a skinning to help so we don't pull him apart. There, I think she'll come now. Let's give this a whirl. There we go. Now we're looking for his front knees. Okay? So now, when you skin it down to this point, now you're looking for a sharp V between the arm and the neck. So we're going to look for that. There it is. There's your V right there. So now we're going to go to this side and look for that V. I got it pretty tight here. You just cut above it, you can cut on the meat, and it's just kind of lets loose. We need that V there. Just gonna, because she's so tight, just give it a little. So now, I'm going to take Daryl made me this bar with a nice pointy edge on it, and the longer, being this length, it works really nice. It gives me lots of pulling leverage. If it's too narrow, you can't pull, and it's got the pointy ends on it. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go right into the top of that V, and you're going to aim it forward and push through. And it's usually harder to do it this way than if you go from the front. There, it's in the V there. So now we're going to pull, and we're going to get that hide down past that front kneecap. And if you can't pull it past the front kneecap, we'll just skin it a little bit. So now we've got that separation there. Doesn't want to go that way, then let's go this way. Beauty. Now if you pull it down or skin it just past the kneecaps, is about the perfect length you want to do it. Because if you skin it, a lot of people just skin and skin and skin. You don't need to skin it any farther. You skin it any farther, then when you go to dry that fur and you flop those arms inside, skin's on skin and it doesn't want to dry. So now you have your ears that can slip, and that's where it can slip to, is under the arm if they're too long. But yet you don't want to cut them too short. If you cut them too short, then when you've got it dried, then you'll see big round holes, arm holes, and you don't want to see the arm hole either. So start from the back, zip around, out comes the leg. There you go. Now because he was snared, well normally you guys would just skin it down anyways, but I'm going to winch him up. Because he was snared, I want to give him a little zip there because he's dried right around the neck. Okay, now you're going to watch for the back of the start of the ear, the base of the ear. So I'm going to zip him up till we see that base of the ear. This guy's a little longer than yesterday's. All right. I'll just have to skin him a little bit here. Daryl kind of set this unit up for me. Last week he worked until 11 or 12 o'clock at night setting this unit up for me. So we didn't do it really high because I thought, well, I'm going to pick two smaller ones to do the demonstration. So no, if you're going to use something like a winch, you need it a little bit higher than this. And at this point, I'll just unclamp him because I don't need him anymore. So now if I turn him around, you can see that this is one ear and this here is another ear. So I'm just going to skin it a little, get in there a little better. So now if you, for most people, this is how they're going to do it. This is the simplest way to do it. Is at the very top of the ear, cut her off. We'll get the cartilage out when we get the tail out, because we're going to take that tail out when we're done, and we're going to take this cartilage out. But this one, I'm going to skin the ear, the back of the ear out. So I need to, of course, once again, hollow it out here so I can get my fingers through there. I'm going to cut this corner. You always cut the corner that's going to be closest to the eye. You always cut that outside corner. Now I'm going to get this, bring it around. Now this technique is skinning the ear out. Takes a lot of practice. This takes quite a while to learn. And for me, it took a lot of coyotes to learn, but I wanted to master this because I like this way versus this way. But this way is the simplest way, is to cut it off. This is the harder way. Okay, so we got it like that. I'm going to separate it now. I'm going to get the cartilage back behind my fingers. I got the fur here, and just pull. There I have a beautiful, perfect ear. And there's my cartilage. All right, now we're going to get out this fun serrated edge knife, and we're just going to show you just how wonderful it works. I'm going to just tuck this ear in, or how about I just cut it off? Because nobody can see what I'm doing. Now, at this stage, you got the ears done. Now you're going to look for the eyes. The eyes are always going to be right directly below the center of the ear. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab that hide like this, and you're going to skin down. Now when you skin, if you want to catch those eyelids, the key to catching the eyelids and getting them is to always have your knife at an angle. Angle your knife. If you don't got that knife at an angle, you are not going to get those eyelids. And there we go. I see the top of the eyelid. I put my finger in there and pull. Okay, this side. There we go. Get my finger in there, give it a pull. Now that we've got the ears, the eyes done, now we need the lips. You skin out the bottom lip and the top lip just comes. You don't gotta fight with the top lip. Top lip always comes. So now you're gonna go straight across from the eye. Should be the back of his mouth. So you start skinning at the back of his mouth. And it's a little bit darker there, so you can kind of see that it is. So I just need to cut through. And this little guy, this serrated knife just works like a little saw. There we go. I can see its teeth. And I can put my finger in there. Just zip, zip, zip. And down this side. Now if you just use a regular knife doing this, it gets dull really fast. So I got my finger in here. Oh, I was going to pin his legs back so you could actually see everything. So now you got his mouth down. Now all we need to do here is just cut straight across. Get your fingers in between the lips, hold it so that you can get both lips and cut straight across. They don't need that bottom lip. Some people leave it on and all it does is flop. So you don't need it, you just cut it off. So now to do the front, the rest of it's easy. You just why will this? Okay, we'll just leave the cut the way it is. We're just gonna saw away here. And now we're gonna, when we get to the bottom, you're gonna get to that black part of the nose. And that black part of the nose is just cartilage. See how that just rolls down nice? So now we're at the bottom. We're just gonna cut the cartilage flush with the hide. And you'll know if you cut it too high, the cartilage is just sticking up, you just trim it off. There you go, you got yourself a coyote. Now we need to get them ears and tails out. Daryl, I need a sleigh. deal with the tail first. This is the easy way to do a tail, and if you try to do it the other way, if it's a dried out tail, this works too. Okay, so I just get a chain. You can use this or use a snare or use wire, but a snare and a wire is really hard to get off of it, so I just use chain with a hoop. Well, one of those dog collar chains work perfect too. I put it around the fat part. Whoops. Suck it up. So now, you got to keep rolling it down like this. Remember I said at the beginning, you got to make sure and have that flop of skin there. Skin it down far enough so you have skin there, so that's good. Now I need my tail puller. Everything, don't know where it went after yesterday. Yeah, here they are. Now you can buy these tail pullers, and what the tail puller is just this small rectangle piece. You get them in plastic or metal. Metal's best. Plastic ones just break. So these, I've just had Daryl build bars on them because I used to try to pull them like this and there's nothing to hang on to and it used to hurt your hands. So now, with the bar on there, I can just push it down. When you go to squeeze this bar, you don't squeeze it tight or anything. You want it loose, just tight enough so it can't go all the way over the fur. Keep it loose and pull down. There you go. And the whole tail came out. So then with the tail, before you're done with it, you can just slice it down too, but the tail stripper works really nice. It's just a $4 plastic doodad. And you just go at the base, and it's stripped nice. Now this is the next place that can also slip is your tail. A lot of tails will slip as well, and so I always put sawdust in them. When I'm drying my coyote, when I go to put it on the stretcher and dry it, I always put sawdust in the tail. So you've got the 3 spots that you gotta watch for. Now this is one of the reasons why I like to do my ear on the coyote, because you actually have a hold of it, where this you're just kind of freehanding it. And for this I'm going to use my Havalon knife because it's a little more technical. So we're going to start again and we're going to cut on the outside so that I can get the ear pulled through. You have to slice it. Here you go. So here you have your fur, here you have the cartilage. Okay, so on the outside, we're going to slice it along the edge. And if it's a fresh coyote, usually you just have to slice a little bit, and then you can get your finger in here, and you can just work it and hollow it out. And this one's starting to, but it's not going to go all the way. Well, yesterday I got 2 perfect ears, but I had 2 nicks. Today I had no nicks, and I'm only going to get 1 perfect ear. But I knew one was really dried out of here, on here. This guy's really dried out, so I'm going to grab my pliers. Now that I've got the edge split, so you've got the hair here and the cartilage here, and it started, because it's dried, I'm just going to give it a pull. We might not get all of this. Here it comes. And then once you get it mostly pulled, then you got to cut the backside. And we're not going to get the tip of that ear. So this is our second ear. We knew we weren't going to get the end because it was really dried. So that pretty much takes takes care of your coyote. Now, Daryl would normally flush it, but today we're not going to do the flushing part of it. If you have questions about flushing, you can always ask us. Now, flushing, you don't, some people don't, they send their furs in and they don't flush them good enough. If they don't flush them good enough, then you get a lot of fat and a lot of moisture out of it. Then again, your hide rots, so you want to get that fat off. But that's all you have to do is get the fat off. Then when we put them on this, once you flush it, we put it on the stretcher just like this. Skin out. You leave it for about 8 hours. And then you got to flip it. And when you take it off the stretcher, we take the nose and we go like this, and you got to, the hide's a little bit tough now, so you got to work it like this till you get the head inside. Once you get the head inside, then you can put your arm up, grab that nose, and pull it. So after 8 hours of being on the stretcher, now you got to put it on this way. Then you got to leave it on the stretcher for about 2 days. Your main thing when you put it on the stretcher to get a nice coyote, because you want to take pride in your work, and that's why you want to take the cartilage out. That's why you want to cut the arms just at the right length. You're going to tuck those arms in so that they're not sticking out. Just tuck them in and make sure that bottom right here is just tucked in. And then the next part is you want to make sure when you do your coyote up and you put them on the stretchers, whether it be a wire stretcher or a wood stretcher, either one, take little thumbtacks and we pin it up between the ears. And it'll stay like that, so then you've got a really nice, neat looking coyote. Make sure you pin those ears up, because it makes it just a much nicer coyote. So that pretty much rounds her up for the day, because today's an early day. Everything shuts down at 4 today. Has anybody got any questions? Well, thank you very, very much. It's nice to have an audience when you do something.